The Denver Broncos are arguably one of the best defenses in the NFL, and they use a pressure heavy system with man coverage behind it to suffocate offenses. Against the Chiefs, they had a really nice way of picking on the Chiefs' protection, which has been one of the issues primarily at left tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs. So we're going to break down an off ball pressure by the Broncos and really illustrate how the pressure saves the coverage in the back end and how they work symbiotically together. That's one of the things about the Broncos that you really enjoy is that the pressure and coverage really sync together. So let's break down the tape. Before we begin, let's explain how Kansas City is going to protect this. So the Broncos have their typical base 3-4 alignment. We have our two tight ends on this side. There's two receivers over here off of the screen. We're under center with our running back. So you can see our corner Riley Moss and you can see our two safeties here. And then we also have our tandem off backers. Now in this protection scheme, we are going to see the running back. Now he is going to scan left to right. And this is where the Broncos get really clever with this. And this is why you can have a hug rush or even just a regular blitz guy, a guy that kind of bluffs his blitz that will bring this open and open up somebody else. So the way that this is going to work is we're actually going to get Barton, who's going to work right to the face of the left tackle. Okay. We're going to get the nose who's going to cross face with the center. So the center is going to end up taking the nose. We're going to have our left guard work to our 3 technique, and then Barton is going to run to the face of the tackle. The problem here is that we also have an edge rusher who the tackle is going to have to take. So our backer is going to work this way. Our back is going to work to the backer, which is going to open up an alley for Sternard here. So we're going to get this move. We're going to jet the B gap. We're going to get 2 off the edge, which is going to bring our running back. And then we are going to build a nice alley for our A gap pressure that's going to work here. You can also see on the right side that we're going to have to fan out and we're going to have to fan out. So we get a 7-man pressure off of this. So that's how the protection is going to work. Let's watch how the blitz actually takes place. At the snap of the ball, you're going to see that we're going to get motion. Now, the key with this is that these two guys have to communicate off of this. So the Chiefs are actually going to create a 3-by-1 alignment. This will be simple. Since we're in man coverage, Moss is going to end up taking the motion guy. Now, these two safeties have to take care of these two tight ends. Now, Kelce is going to run across. So you would assume that we would get him to take it. And then we're going to have 6 who's going to stay on top of 83. That's not necessarily how this works. I think that 22 forgets that this becomes a 3-by-1. So let's break down the coverage first piece so that we see this, because I know I'm going to get somebody in the comments, well, Kelce was open. But this is how pressure works for the coverage. When you have good pressure, it fixes mistakes in the back end. So as you can see right here, 6 is actually looking at 83. 22, I don't know who he's looking at. He's just being a watcher right now, but he should be with eyes on Kelce. So we should have whoever pushes out, whoever pushes vertical. Right here, you can see this 22 needs to be taking Kelce. So this is the mistake you have on the back end. This is why these communication pieces have to happen. You can see 22 goes right to 83 and locks on the back end saying, hey, wait a second, we need why are you not taking Kelce across this? This is a bad look. We don't want this. But this is how the pressure works. This is why on paper, these max pressures look insane. How can this be these guys? How can we get this? And there's voids and zones and all this stuff. But this is what Narduzzi would tell you about hot blitzes, is that they look unsound, but at the end of the day, the pressure is what's going to fix any kind of coverage mistake. So let's look at the protection post snap. Let's see how this works. This gives us exactly what we want right here. 83 is going to take this outside guy. We're going to have our tackle who's working to our backer. So we're maxed out. I actually like this. We would love a really fast guy like Benito on a number 2 tight end. You're going to see the running back step up over here to the blitzing linebacker because he's in charge technically of the off-ball linebacker. This is where the off-ball alignment works for the Broncos. This is why they did this, because now we have 2 guys that are going to block somebody. Our guard is taking our 3 technique. Our center took our nose. You can see right now we have this nice alley. It's a play action. Remember, he bailed on the play action, and Strenard's going to go right here. Notice how, too, we are 1 for 1 on the backside. So we are +1 here with the defense because the running back went the wrong way. As we get Mahomes to settle in, you can see the running back realizes I made a mistake here. What should happen is you can also see, too, that the left tackle is working out to the edge because we're getting a hit call by the tight end here, and then he's going to release under. So we have Kelce here. We have our check down here. So the running back is assuming that the tackle is going to kick out. He ends up working here. So as he gets here, instead of just staying with him, this is where we get the alley right here. So regardless of even if they would have fanned this out and the running back takes a protection, the Broncos were always going to have a +1. They created an internal alley for this guy. And this is a beautiful way. And a really just simple, this is just a plug blitz. Because if we go back to the beginning, that's all we're doing. We're just plugging gaps. But we're using a line stunt to make sure that we get this alley here. So all we're doing is plugging the open gap. We're plugging this C gap. We've got the B gap covered, both A gaps. We're going to work to the B gap. We have the C gap covered, and then we have that D gap covered with our edge. So it's a 7+. We know the back is going to stay in because it's a max pressure. So we're 4 for 4 in the secondary. These 2 guys just need to communicate a little bit better. So again, at the snap of the ball, you can see that we get this. Mahomes has nowhere to go, and he's just trying to throw it, and there's no way for him to get it. Beautiful setup, great breakdown of how a max pressure can work, and using simple line movements to really manipulate this, and using the off-ball alignment to play with the protection of the running back and get him to make a mistake. Again, he's scanning left to right. We end up getting the right guy through, and it ends up becoming an errant pass for the Chiefs, and an example of how the Broncos use pressure to assist the coverage on the backside.